Hey guys, this is Simon with Caddis Fly Shop and Oregon Fly Fishing Blog, and these are something that you've probably seen in the last year or so on the internet. If you haven't seen it from us, these are called Backcountry Skinz, and they are a wet wading system that you can use so that especially early and late season you do not have to wear waders. If you live somewhere with especially cold water, they insulate you, they keep the sun off you, they protect you from blackberries, so instead of walking with shorts in the summer, getting your legs all torn up, they do provide a little bit of, they're made of neoprene, 2 of the 3 models, so they do provide a little bit of protection from brambles and sticks and stuff when you're walking. So they're pretty cool. They're from New Zealand is where they're really popular, and they've kind of just really made their debut here in the States, and they have been just super popular. So we have 3 models of them here, as well as later in the video we'll just quickly go over a couple accessories from them, but there's 3 different models here, and it's kind of confusing, so I'm going to give you the lowdown if you've been interested in getting a pair on what each one does. So starting here in the front, I believe this is their first model they ever came out with. This is the Z series, and this was specifically made to get you out of your waders earlier in the season. And these are the ones that I use, these Digi ones right here. They provide more warmth than these other 2 models right here, and a little bit thicker insulation, and that means that spring and fall, when you want to not be in waders and you just don't want to give up wet wading, or you're excited to get into out of your waders, you can wear something like this. I was wearing the Z series early season way up Salt Creek when the water was still cold with snow melt. The day it was like 65 out, and the water was like hovering around like 50, 51, 52, 53, and I wore these until about 7 p.m. In the evening, and I was comfortable, and I never thought that I would be able to wet wade in that type of season. So the Z series right here, there's 3 different colors. There's this Digi Camo, there's this Brook Trout, and then there's this gray camo. These are the ones that you'd want if you are wanting to, a model at least, that you can use in the spring to get out of your waders sooner, and in the fall if you just don't want to put your waders on. If you're somebody that hates waders, this is something that you really should be paying attention to. I've also know people personally, a couple people in the shop that use these and also wear them under their waders in the winter for insulation also. They're just thick neoprene, so they do nothing but just keep you warm. Next here we have the Air Blitz, and this is the one that we think, and I believe it has been the most popular for summertime, and it's because there's all these little perforations on the material, and that allows water to run in and out, and it keeps you super cool. So for the Air Blitz, think, you know, sun protection, a little bit of protection from brambles and blackberries and whatnot, and keeps you insulated, but these ones also especially will keep you cool when it's very hot. So that's the difference. The neoprene is not as thick as the Z series right here. These are for like the dog days of summer. If you got a pair of Z series and you're just kind of getting too hot in them, you may want to consider grabbing a pair of these ones for the summer. Or maybe you live in Arizona or New Mexico, and it's just like hot where you live, or you're down in California or Colorado, middle of the summer, really hot. This is something that you may be interested in over the Z series. Or if you're somebody that is okay with wearing your waders through spring or early in fall, and you just want something to help you out a little bit in the summer, you would want the Air Blitz right here. And then lastly here we've got the I believe they're called the UV series, or UV. These ones are like just flats. You know, they're mainly for sun protection. They're real thin. They're just like 100% spandex right here, so no neoprene insulation on these, but you do get sun protection, and I would say you probably do get a little bit of warmth, but nowhere near comparable to these other 2, the Z series and the Air Blitz, where you do get insulation directly from neoprene. So there is also a full review in the form of an article on our blog, Oregon Fly Fishing Blog. If that's something you're interested in, it will flesh out all this stuff if you're a reader. Otherwise, we'll swap the table out and just go over a couple of accessories. But these things are really cool. They've been selling like mad. We're one of the few shops in the US that's a dealer for them, and it's just like we cannot I mean, every day we're sending them out, or people are coming in. So this is kind of the new thing that people are really excited about. Like I said, I've been using the Z series, and they're really awesome for cool mornings, for walking through all sorts of junk. They keep my legs from getting beat up, and I don't really get sunburned either. So I've been using them this spring and into the summer, and they are great. I can't say enough about them, and I am very interested in these air Blitz, in something that keeps you a little bit cooler. These things also, if you do get too hot in them, all it takes is a dunk in the river and you kind of recharge them with cold water. But I think you'd have to do that less with the Air Blitz if you're getting too hot. But we'll swap out the table, go over a couple more things, and then that is your formal introduction to Backcountry Skinz from New Zealand. Table has been swapped. You can see there's a couple of other things here. The most unique from the table is these guys right here. These are waterproof merino wool socks. They're 40% nylon, 40% merino, 10% a waterproof membrane, and 10% lycra. They're really cool. This is for the type of guy who hikes in somewhere and, you know, maybe he's wearing his Backcountry Skinz, or maybe he's just wearing shorts, and they know they're not going to step above the top of the sock, and it'll keep your feet dry. So you'd probably wear them with like a wading boot or just a shoe that you want to get wet. But this is pretty unique. We haven't seen something like this before. If you're someone that, you know, is pretty minimal and you're just, you know you're not going to go above halfway up your calf, that is something that would be pretty cool for you. And they do have UV gloves for rowing or just fishing if you're somewhere where the sun is really, really nasty. They have a bunch of cool buffs, and they do have this little handy guide on the back for about 20 different things you can do with it, how to make it into a hat and all this different other stuff. They do make wading sock options, and this is the standard one without a gravel guard, and there is one with a gravel guard. They do have a drain, which is kind of nice. Certain neoprene socks do not have perforation to allow the water to drain out, so you just end up with stagnant water sitting in your neoprene sock all day, which that kind of sucks. So the drain is super, super nice. These feel really, really great. Haven't had the chance to use them, but I can tell they're very nice. And then they have shorts here, and these are pretty nice. They have all sorts of pockets that are almost splash proof. They have like a real nice zipper on them, and just a nice pair of shorts that often people wear shorts over these on the river. That's the one thing I forgot to mention, is most people wear shorts over their Backcountry Skinz. And then hats. Obviously, you can see I have a Backcountry Skin hat on. So here's all this stuff. This is a little bit less important, but this is, you know, especially, you know, this is very interesting here. But there is all sorts of other stuff. If you do find that you love some of their other products and you want to support them in other ways, there's all sorts of other Backcountry Skinz gear that we have here. So like I said, full write-up is on the blog. There will be links below, and the YouTube description for all these products on the website if you're out of state, or if you're in the area, just come on down in the shop and we've got it all in one spot for you in the shop. Come in the door and turn right.